We have all experienced the sudden snap, disproportionate anger over a minor inconvenience, a wave of sudden anxiety, or a heavy spiral into self-pity. Society usually labels these moments as character flaws or a simple lack of willpower, but this ignores the actual mechanics of the mind. These aren't moral failures. They are the result of a system reaching its physical limit. To understand why we snap, view the psyche as a strict, finite vessel, a psychological bucket. Every experience generates residue. From workplace conflicts to anticipating a new job, these moments form units that drop into the container, taking up real physical space. Psychological collapse, whether it looks like compulsive behavior or deep depression, occurs when this finite capacity is breached. The breakdown is simply the inevitable overspill of a container that can no longer hold the accumulated volume. To stop the overspill, we have to look closer at a single emotional unit, the emotion bubble, and see why it expands. Every bubble starts with a specific physical sensation. You might feel a heavy pressure in your chest, a dizziness in your head, or a sudden sweating. This exploded diagram reveals the sensation's core, a generative thought, usually an unrealistic expectation, like demanding perfection from ourselves. But the bubble grows dangerous when we obsess over the feeling. This meta-thought, fearing the anxiety itself, rapidly inflates the outer ring until it consumes all remaining capacity. Learning to dissect these units is the only way to diffuse them. If you can't identify the anatomy of the bubble, you remain at the mercy of its volume. Neutralizing these bubbles requires a mechanical process called self-regulation. This is how we intentionally shrink the volume of our emotional residue. The first step is to isolate the physical sensation. If you feel tension, try to actually tighten your grip and increase the feeling. This demonstrates to the brain that the sensation is subject to your own command. Once you can increase it, you can also relax it. The second step is to intercept our automatic meaning-making. When someone ignores us, we often project a meaning, assuming they are angry or that we are unvalued without any actual evidence. Converting these rigid assumptions into testable hypotheses stops the bubble from inflating. By asking the person for their actual intent, you replace a growing internal fantasy with a manageable fact. When you master your physical sensations and strip away unverified assumptions, you effectively drain the pressure. The bubble loses its explosive potential. But why do these bubbles get trapped in the first place? Usually, it's the result of a conflict between the social self and the unique self. The social self is a rigid, sealed loop. It is the persona we use to meet societal expectations and avoid conflict. It prioritizes being polite over being honest. When the social self is in charge, we swallow our truths to avoid social risk. This seals the bucket, trapping every emotional unit inside until the system overflows. The unique self, however, is a porous system operating through direct communication. By speaking your actual needs, you create an outward flow that vents the internal pressure. Masking your truth provides social comfort, but it guarantees psychological overload. Vulnerability is the only mechanism that actually clears the bucket and maintains emotional stability. When you successfully drain the bucket, you find a rare moment of clarity and silence. However, an empty bucket is only a starting point. Without a chosen direction, this regulated state can feel aimless, leaving us to wait for the next emotional spill rather than moving forward. We have to acknowledge the dark side, the reality of physical decay, illness, and the finality of the hourglass. Our time is strictly limited and non-renewable. Because time is finite, our lives must be guided by long-term goals. If we allow fluctuating moods or temporary feelings to decide what we do today, we effectively hand over our limited time to random emotional spikes. Self-psychology serves as the baseline of stability. It is the practical work of reclaiming your schedule from emotional chaos so you can pursue deliberate action. The final mandate of a regulated mind is the focused development of the unique self. This growth happens at the frontiers, exploring new philosophical ideas, building physical awareness without the distraction of competition, and engaging in direct creative expression. Stepping into these territories without waiting for society's permission builds a sense of identity. You begin to value your own discoveries over the shifting opinions of others. If you wait for the perfect mood or external validation to begin, the hourglass will simply run empty. Action must always precede the feeling. By managing the mechanics of your bucket, you stop reacting to internal spills. You finally begin to produce work that is uniquely your own, and in doing so, you leave your own mark on the world.